What's up guys, it's Matt back with another video. I wanted to do something different today because I was looking back at my recent catalog of videos and I realized that I'm just making a lot of reviews, and I don't want to just be known as the guy who makes reviews. I know whenever I do other kinds of content on this channel, it doesn't get as many views, and that's fine for me because I want to express my love for photography a little bit more intricately than just like, this lens good, this lens bad, you know what I'm saying? Every single month I keep a folder of personal photography that I've taken that month, that I stash it away in my hard drive so I can forever look back on it and realize what was going on in my life at that point. And one of the main things that I take pictures of in my personal photography, because I'm never commissioned to do it, is landscape photography. Just because I enjoy it. I live in central Pennsylvania and it's beautiful here. So I wanted to show you guys some landscape photos that I have taken, some that work, some that I don't think work, so you can hopefully look at my mistakes and not make the same mistakes that I did, and look at what I did that maybe works and try to not emulate that, but take some of those concepts and consider them whenever you're out doing your own photography. So I actually want to start with some photos that don't work. Here are the list of photos that don't work. I have less examples here of landscape photos that don't work than I do of landscape photos that do, and trust me, that's not because I'm an amazing photographer. I've taken a lot more bad landscape photos than good, but I just tend to not keep the ones that I don't like. This photo, I like the idea of this photo. It's kind of contrasting, like this is like an overgrown field and here's like a fence, a human-made thing, kind of like intruding on the landscape. I feel like a lot of landscapes that I do are kind of have that vibe of like, it's beautiful and overgrown, but there's like this human element in it that element itself is almost kind of ugly, and that contrasting with the natural beauty is just interesting to me. But I don't know, this one, actually, I don't know, it could work. You could argue it either way. The sky is like a 5 out of 10. It's not like the most amazing time of day to be taking a landscape photo. The clouds aren't like really awesome or anything. It's fine. I feel like it could just been framed better. I think the reason I have this and it doesn't work is because I want to create layers here. What I should have done is taken my X-T3 screen and flipped it down and held the camera up above my head so I could have a distinct layer of mountain, a distinct layer of field, and then this would be in the layer of field instead of poking up above both of them. That being, you know, breaking through both of those layers draws your eye immediately to this part, which is not what I want you to look at so much as this and how it corresponds with the surrounding landscape. So I think that's why it doesn't work. I feel like I could have framed it better. It's a fine photo. It just, there's nothing particularly really good about it. And that's what you'll see about with a lot of my photos that I feel like don't work, is like, they're fine, but they're not like good. They're not like, that sounds so harsh on myself, but that's honestly what it is, and that's how you should be able to objectively look at your work and have other people look at your work. So this is the first one I feel like that works. This is honestly the first time I took a landscape photograph and I like looked at the back of my camera and I was like, this is like actually pretty good. I think it works just because all of the different layers, this is a sunrise. So a huge reason why this photograph works is not even so much the location, though the location is fine. This is like in March, so it's in the winter. It's all dead, and that has that atmosphere to it. But it's just the time of day. The light is perfect. This is the sun had just come up over the mountain in the distance, and the sky has lots of interest just because of the way the clouds are. And then we have this row of trees. These dead trees add that atmosphere. These highlights are just barely blowing out right where the sun is. That's fine because I only took this in one exposure. I'm not much for HDR, stitching different exposures together. If I can get it one exposure, I will, and I'm fine with that. It's the sun. It's supposed to be bright. It's okay if that is a little bit of clipping right there. And there's just enough like interest here, this light spilling through where you can see this barn. I obviously brought out these shadows a little bit. It wouldn't work if it was just the sky and all that. But what makes it good, in my opinion, is the sun coming down and reflecting off of these dead stalks in this field, because it's in the winter. They'd been dead for a long time. Those little points of glistening light off the field down here are, I think, what makes this photograph work. It also goes to show that you don't need to be shooting in the summer at the most beautiful time of year to get an interesting and beautiful landscape photograph. This is in the dead of winter, literally the dead of winter. Everything's dead, and it still looks pretty beautiful. Next up, we got, so I included this one just because it's funny. This one is actually arguably clipping too much off to the side here, but I have sold a rather large print of this to somebody who it didn't seem to bother them very much. To be honest, clipping highlights, it does look, you know, arguably bad, but me as a photographer and you as also a potential photographer, your eyes, you're gonna care about that a lot more than an actual customer who's gonna buy a print of this photo. This is one of the first pictures I took with my 16mm, lots of context. And it was just so funny that you'll see a lot of photos in this video of these three mountains right here. There's a million compositions with those three mountains, and it was just funny that my dog came and decided to pop a squat right in that shaft of light. It would just look like it was made to be there, and I'm just glad I got to catch that moment. And I think that's a funny photograph. I think that's what the thumbnail is going to be. I'm going to try to go a little bit faster here because I've already been filming for 10 minutes and have not got through that many photos. This one I shot with a Sigma DP2 Quattro. This is like a 4-megapixel camera, okay? You don't need the best of the best gear. If there wasn't this cloud right here in the center, this wouldn't work. But the foreground right there, and the fact that I distinctly layered it, see this layer of green there between this foreground and that mountain element, having those layers and those different distinct sections of the photograph will help your composition look better. And also here at the bottom, having the grass before that as well, just creates this depth as this layer after layer stepping into the scene. And then this little cloud right in the middle right there is the cherry on top. A big thing with landscapes is if you don't have a good sky, it's going to be a lot harder. Don't incorporate the sky if there's not a good sky. A lot of my don't work photographs are photographs that would have been great if they had a good sky, but there wasn't a good sky, so I should have composed it differently, but I didn't. All right, let's go do some don't work. And then I'm gonna rapid fire here eventually because I'm gonna be sick of filming. A couple reasons why this one doesn't work. I bought a Perger 12mm f2, which I still have, and it's not my favorite lens in the world, but it has some like color shifting. The white balance could have been made better. I could have added more contrast to this photo. This was like early in my photography. I didn't understand that like you have to put in a little bit more legwork whenever you're using a third-party $100 lens to make it look good. That doesn't work. But also there's like, I've been talking about incorporating sky. There's just way too much sky. This is 2/3 sky. And it's just, there's nothing really drawing your, like obviously my dog's there, but he's not in a spot where he really stands out. He's kind of fighting with the background there, and there's not really anything of interest for a large portion of the sky. There's a lot of dead space, so that's why I don't think this one works. So this is the last one I want to show you as an example of something that doesn't work. And in my opinion, this actually is a nice photograph. And this is another example of one that I remember showing to my photography class, thinking that people were going to like it, and then after getting some more insight from other people, from a viewer strictly of this photograph, rather than somebody who was there and made it and understands like all that went into putting the photograph together, you have to be able to separate yourself from that. I remember someone describing this as a sentimental photograph, and I agree. It's just that the light is beautiful, it has the contrast, it's that time of day where you get the golden hues and stuff, but again, like I've been saying the whole video, there's nothing going on in the sky. And that kind of just ruins the composition. And also, you see this road back here. This fence rides along the edge, so you can't really see where this road connects to this field. This is another example where if I had gotten the camera up higher from a more interesting vantage point than just at my eye level, which most people tend to take photographs at their eye level or set their tripod up at their eye level. If you're doing landscapes, sometimes people do tripods if you're doing it right. And it's another example where I feel like I could better separate the layers in the image and also have a composition that didn't rely on so much sky when there's nothing going on in the sky. Now this is probably one of my favorite photos, and this actually is in my portfolio. I'm working on my website right now. And this is actually the same field as the dead winter field from earlier, but this is at a different time of year. And obviously, when the plants are alive, you can see that the trees have leaves over here and the field is filled with soybeans. And this is actually like the same exact time of day. It's essentially the same exact photograph at a different time of year. So always remember, you can revisit the same locations for your landscapes and get good results. This one just works because it's just, you know, soybean layer, mountain layer, a little bit of rural splash there because of that barn, and the sky has enough interest. Even though, you know, you could argue this is dead space, I don't feel like that's enough dead space to kill the overall composition. I think it works. So back to another one that works here. We're back with the same mountain that you've probably seen a couple compositions of so far. And this is in the dead of winter with lots of snow. You can make landscape photographs any time of year if you're determined. This is a cornfield during the summer months, but during the winter, the corn stalks look like this. It's very jagged and like rough looking compared to like the mountain and the snow. It's all like very soft. And in this one, like I said, that didn't work whenever I had that fence post sticking up over the mountain. This one, I was very intentional in having this one stick up over the mountain. I wanted these like jagged corn stalks to be like overpowering and kind of commanding the attention of the scene over the softness and comfortingness of the snow. And so I was actually intentional in having that sticking out over there so that your attention is drawn to that first and foremost. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. This will be a long one to edit for me. Hopefully edit it down to a reasonably watchable video. So I hope you enjoyed seeing my landscapes. This is very personal. This is my work over the course of, you know, these are the landscapes I've taken over the course of probably the past 2 years that I've been really taking photography seriously. So I'm being very honest in what I think works, what I don't think works, and I hope that this can help somebody out there. And that's really all I gotta say. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.